Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Narayanam Nam
Okay, go ahead.
Narayanam Namaskritya Naranjaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudire.
Hare Krishna. So we see the concentration and the focus and the innermost feeling, the aspiration of Bhishma Dev, that how is completely fully focused on the lotus face of the Supreme Lord. So he's saying that let my mind be fixed upon Lord Shri Krishna, whose motion and smiles of love attracted the damsels of Rajatham. The damsels imitated the characteristics movement of the Lord after his disappearance from the Rasa. So we'll go further. Munigam Kripa Varya Sankule Antah Sadati Yudhishthira Rajasuya Esham Arhanam Upaped Ikshaniyo Rishi Gochara Eva Aviratmaha Esha Aviratmaha. So he's remembering all the major activities, the pastimes, very intimate one. One he remembered with the gopis, and at the time of Rasa dance, when Krishna disappeared. So how the gopis imitated his activity. And now he is bringing his memory into the lane where Krishna made Yudhishthir perform the Rajasuriya. So he's saying at the Rajasuriya sacrifice performed by Maharaj Yudhishthir, there was the greatest assembly of all the elite men of the world, the royal and learned orders. And in that great assembly, Lord Shri Krishna was worshipped by one and all as the most exalted personality of Godhead. This happened during my presence, and I remember the incident in order to keep my mind upon the Lord. So this is how we keep the focus of our mind. So Srila Bhishmadev is training us. Recently, I read the detailed commentary on Man Mana Bhav Mad Bhakto. The first thing that the Supreme Lord is asking, this is the most confidential part of knowledge. This is what Krishna is revealing in Bhagavad Gita. In the most confidential knowledge, this is the final verse. Man Mana Bhav Mad Bhakto. And then when in the final section of the 18th chapter, Krishna is saying that I am giving you the most confidential knowledge. Then again he repeats the same verse. So what is Man Mana Bhava? So Man Mana Bhava is always remembering Krishna's pastimes. What Leela or what exchange he performed with his devotee. That is the highest. So see, this is what he is remembering here. In the previous verse, he is remembering how he was having exchanges with the dearest most and the most intimate of his associates. And then now he is remembering what exchange he had with his very intimate devotees, the Pandavas. So that is Man Mana Bhav. That to always be able to be absorbed or to be able to remember the pastime, the activities of the Supreme Lord. Krishna says, Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam. So that is Man Mana Bhav. So if one is not at that stage, then Krishna gives the leverage. He says, Mad Bhakta, become my devotee. How one becomes devotee of Krishna? Why Krishna has to say, become my devotee? What it means to become a devotee of Krishna? So the Acharyas speak on the 9 limbs of devotional service. Shaman, Kirtan, Smarana, Vandana, Pujan. So all these 9 limbs That is Bhavamad Bhakta. Then he says, even if you are not able to do that, then at least come to this level of Madhyaji. What does Madhyaji mean? Manoram Prabhu?
Prabhuji, worshipping the Supreme Lord.
Yes, worshiping the Supreme. So how we perform worship? With the Shodashopcharas. We offer lamb to him, we offer incense to him, we offer flower to him, we offer bhoga to him. So by engaging our senses, by engaging our mind and senses. Mhm. And even if one is not able to do that, says at least namaskaru. Pay your obeisances to me. At least bow down to me. But you see what is the position, the exalted position of Vishnudev. His man mana bhava. His bhava is completely absorbed in Krishna. He is remembering all these exchanges with his most intimate devotees. So after gaining victory in the battle of Kurukshetra, Maharaj Yudhishthir, the emperor of the world, performed the Raj Surya sacrificial ceremony. The emperor in those days, upon his accidents to the throne, would send a challenge horse all over the world to declare his supremacy. And any ruling prince or king was at liberty to accept the challenge and express his tacit willingness either to obey or to disobey the supremacy of the particular emperor. You all know that. The horse used to go, and if somebody challenges, then he has to face. He has to face that military power. One who accepted the challenge had to fight with the emperor and establish his own supremacy by victory. The defeated king would have to sacrifice his life, making a place for another king or ruler. So Maharaj Yudhishthir also dispatched such challenging horses all over the world. And every ruling prince and king all over the world accepted Maharaj Yudhishthir's leadership as the emperor of the world. After this, all rulers of the world under the regime of Maharaj Yudhishthir were invited to participate in the great sacrificial ceremony of Rajasurya. Such performance requires hundreds of millions of dollars. And it was not an easy job for a petty king. Such a sacrificial ceremony, being too expensive and also difficult to perform under present circumstances, is now impossible in the age of Kali. Nor can anyone secure the required expertise priesthood to take charge of the ceremony. So after being invited, all the kings, the great learned sages of the world, assembled in the capital of Maharaj Yudhishthir. So this is one of the, highest assembly, the most elite, both from the royal order and both also from the spiritual order. Everyone was invited. The learned society, including the great philosopher, religionist, physicians, scientists, and all great sages were invited. This is to say the Brahmanas and the Kshatriyas were the topmost leading men in society. And they were all invited to participate in the assembly. The Vaishyas and Shudras were unimportant elements in society. And they are not mentioned herein. Due to the change of social activities in the modern age, the importance of men has also changed in terms of occupational position. So in that great assembly, Lord Shri Krishna was the cynosure of neighboring eyes. Everyone wanted to see Lord Krishna and everyone wanted to pay his humble respects to the Lord. Bhishmadev remembered all this and was glad that his worshipable Lord, the personality of Godhead, was present before him in his actual formal presence. So to meditate on the Supreme Lord is to meditate on his activities. Here comes the point. What it means to be man mana bhav is to meditate on his activities, form, pastimes, name, and fame of the Lord. That is easier than what is imagined as meditated on the impersonal feature of the Supreme. In the Bhagavad Gita, 12.5 is clearly stated the impersonal feature of the Supreme is very difficult. Anyone remembers the verse? 12.5. The meaning the answer is given here. It is clearly stated that to meditate upon the impersonal feature of the Supreme is very difficult. It is practically no meditation or simply a waste of time, because very seldom is the desired result obtained. Anyone remembers the verse? It says, Klesho adhikaras tesham avyakt asakt chetasam. Klesh means trouble, or there is, what is the word given there in the translation? Just say, Klesho adhikaras tesham avyakt asakt chetasam. Avyakta hi gatir dukha. Just read, Sonika. You have the book with you? 12.5.
Yes, Prabhuji. Just a minute, I'm opening it. 12.5. Yes.
Anyone who has?
Klesho,
Yeah.
yeah. Klesho adhikaras tesham.
Yeah, that is. What is the translation? I'm giving you the verse.
For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme,
Troublesome.
advancement is very troublesome.
Yeah, troublesome.
To make
Troublesome. So actually, what it means is to meditate on the Lord means to meditate on His activities. To meditate, as Prabhupada is mentioning here, on His form, His pastime, His exchanges with His devotees. The devotees, however, meditate upon the Lord's act, form, and pastimes. And therefore, the Lord is easily approachable by the devotees. This is also stated in the Bhagavad Gita 12.9. What is 12.9? Lord Krishna says in 12.9. Bolo, jaldi bolo, Prabhu. Matas. What is 12.9? Krishna is saying. Abhyaso api asamartho api. What is 12.9? So, see, quickly. I don't have Bhagavad Gita right now in my hand.
should I read, Prabhuji?
What is the verse?
12.9. My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, you will develop a desire to attain me.
Okay. What is the Sanskrit? Atha chittam samadhatum na shaknosi mahi sthiram. Abhyas yogena tato mam ikshaptum dhananjayam. This is the verse.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Atha chittam samadhatum na shaknosi mahi sthiram. If you are not able to focus or absorb your mind in me, then abhyas yogena tato. And what you have to do? Abhyas yoga. Practice. Following the principles, the regulative principles. And mam ikshaptum dhananjaya. And have a desire to attain me. The Lord is non-different from His transcendental activities. It is indicated also in this shloka that Lord Shri Krishna, while actually present before human society, especially in connection with the battle of Kurukshetra, was accepted as the greatest personality of the time. Although He might not have been recognized as the supreme personality of Godhead, the propaganda that a very great man is worshipped as God after his death is misleading, because a man after his death cannot be made into God, nor can the personality of Godhead be a human being, even when he is personally present. Both ideas are misconceptions. The idea of anthropomorphism cannot be applicable in the case of Lord Krishna. Find out what is this term meaning. Anthropomorphism. Homomorphism. Manoram Prabhu, you see what is the word meaning of the
प्रभु जी मानववाद है जिन-
it is that declaring man to be God, something like that. The idea of
of मानववाद प्रभु जी
no, in English you see what is the meaning. It will be having explanation also. Now what it means. That is anuvad. That is not meaning. What you are speaking is anuvad. Anyway, we'll go ahead. Tamimam aham ajam sharir bhajam hriday hriday दृश्यताम आत्मकल्पितानां प्रतिदर्शमिव अनेक धर्कम एकम समाधिगतो अस्मि विदहुत भेद मोह. See what Vishnudev is saying. Now I can meditate with full concentration upon that one Lord Shri Krishna, now present before me, because now I have transcended the misconceptions of duality in regard to his presence in everyone's heart, even in the heart of the mental speculator. He is in everyone's heart. The sun may be perceived differently, but the sun is one. So he has understood this tattva very clearly and convincingly. You found it, Manoram Prabhu? What is the meaning?
Yes, Prabhuji, I did. It is described or thought of as having a unique human form or human attributes.
As human form or
Human attributes.
attributes. Human form or human attributes. So yes, the Krishna, the Supreme Lord is not human. This is what Prabhupada is saying. Prabhupada said here that the very great man is worshipped as God after his death, nor the personality of Godhead can be human being, even when he is personally present. Okay. Lord Shri Krishna is the one absolute supreme personality of Godhead, but he has expanded himself into his multiplanetary portions and multi-differentiated portions by his inconceivable energy. The conception of duality is due to ignorance of the inconceivable energy. In Bhagavad Gita 9:11, the Lord says that only the foolish take him to be a mere human being. Very famous verse. Such foolish men are not aware of his inconceivable peace. By his inconceivable energy, he is present in everyone's heart, as the sun is present with everyone all over the world. The Paramatma feature of the Lord is an expansion of his plenary portion. He expands himself as Paramatma in everyone's heart by his inconceivable energy. He also expands himself as the glowing effulgence of Brahmajyoti by expansion of his personal glow. It is stated in the Brahma Samhita that the Brahmajyoti is his personal glow. Therefore, there is no difference between him and his personal glow, Brahmajyoti. You can see the screen now.
Not visible, Prabhu.
Sorry,
It is not visible.
not visible.
Yes, Prabhu, we cannot see.
There is probably it is not very stable here. Can you see now? You are able to hear me? आवाज आ रहा है आप लोग को?
प्रभु जी आवाज आ रहा है लेकिन स्क्रीन नहीं आ रहा है, डिस्प्ले नहीं।
स्क्रीन आई है? अच्छा, अभी भी नहीं आ रहा है। मुझे तो आप सबकी स्क्रीन दिख रही है। आई कैन सी ऑल ऑफ यू।
आप दिख रहे हैं, आप स्क्रीन शेयर किए वो दिख नहीं रहा।
स्क्रीन शेयर किया नहीं है, दोबारा कर रहा हूँ। Is it visible now?
अभी अभी दिख रहा है प्रभु।
Okay. You think participant can now see your application. This misconception of duality. What is the misconception of duality? That Brahmajyoti or Paramatma to be different from Krishna. This misconception of duality is completely removed from the mind of Bhishma Dev. And he is now satisfied that it is Lord Sri Krishna only who is all in everything. This enlightenment is attained by the great Mahatmas or devotees, as it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita 790. Who remembers this verse 9:11? Jaldi boliye. 9:11. What is the verse? Yes, Ramya?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभुदेव अवजानन्ति मां मूढ़ा मानसं तनुमाश्रितम्।
Yeah. Param bhavam ajananto bhuta maheshwaram. So, avajananti. The foolish people, they do not know, they do not accept. When he comes like, he appears in the human-like form. This is very confidential thing. He is not human. He appears in the human-like form. So that does not mean that he becomes a mortal human. So this part is very clear to Bhishma Dev. And he also knows that the expansion of the Supreme Lord is in the form of his personal effulgence and the localized Paramatma feature in everyone's heart. So there is no duality. He says that the misconception of duality is completely removed. This enlightenment is attained by the great Mahatmas or devotees, which is stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7:19, that the devotees realize the Vasudev is all in everything, and that there is no existence of anything without Vasudev. Vasudev or Lord Shri Krishna is the original Supreme Person, as now confirmed by Bhishma Dev. Shri Bhishma Dev is one of the 12 Mahajans. Shri Bhishma Dev is one of the 12 Mahajans of great authorities. Both the neophytes and the pure devotees must try to follow in his footsteps. Prabhupada is saying, both the neophyte and the pure devotees must try to follow in his footsteps. That is the way of devotional line. Dharma satatvam nihita guvahaya mahajana yen gathen sapantha. The worshipable objects of Vishnudev is Lord Shri Krishna as Partha Sarthi. And that of the gopis is the same Krishna in Vrindavan in his most attractive Shyam Sundara. Sometimes less intelligent scholars make a mistake and think that Shri Krishna of Vrindavan and that of the Battle of Kurukshetra are different personalities. But for Bhishma Dev, this misconception is completely removed. Even the impersonalist object of destination is Krishna as the impersonal Jyoti. And the yogi's destination of Paramatma is also Krishna. Krishna says, but they are worshippers. They are alpa buddhiya. They are not very intelligent. In Krishna, there are the both Brahmajyoti and the Paramatma. But in Brahmajyoti or Paramatma, there is no Krishna or sweet relationship with Krishna. In his personal feature, Krishna is both Parthasarthi and Shyam Sundar of Vrindavan. But only in his impersonal feature is he the Brahmajyoti and the Paramatma. Great Mahatmas like Bhishma Dev realize all these different features of Lord Shri Krishna, and therefore they worship Lord Krishna with one pointed attention, knowing him as the origin of all features. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanvan mam prapadyate vasudevam sarvamati sa mahatma sudurlabha. So after the prayers of Bhishma Dev, Srila Suta Goswami is speaking to the assembled sages. Suta uvacha Krishnam manova Atmani Atmanam Aveshya Soantas Vasa Upraman. Sud Goswami said that Bhishmadev merged himself in the super soul, Lord Shri Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead, with his mind, speech, sight, and action. Mano is mind, Vak is speech, Drishti is sight, and Vritti bhi is by his activities. What was the activity? He was lying on the uh, bed of arrows. So his meditation, what was the action? He was completely absorbed. And thus he became silent and his breathing stopped. The stage attained by Bhishmadev while quitting his material body is called Nirvikalp Samadhi. Because he immersed his self into thinking of the Lord by engaging his mind in remembering the Lord's different activities. His speech in chanting the glories of the Lord and his sight in seeing the Lord personally present before him. That was the activity. Sight. Thus, all his activities became concentrated upon the Lord without deviation. This is the highest stage of perfection. This is possible for everyone to attain this stage by practice of devotional service. The devotional service of the Lord consists of 9 principles of service activities. So see, from this engagement in this 9 limbs of devotional service, one will come to this point of absorption in the Supreme, like Bhishmadev had. So Prabhupada is mentioning all these 9 activities: hearing, chanting, remembering, serving the Lord's lotus feet, worshipping, praying, executing the orders, fraternizing, that is Sakhyam, and fully surrendering. Any one of them or all of them are equally competent to award the desired result. But they require to be practiced persistently under the guidance of an expert devotee of the Lord. Very important. It will not happen on its own. That is why we are here. We are also seeking training, guidance, inspiration, seeing the personal, getting the personal presence of those who are more advanced than us. So this aspect is continued in the life of a devotee. What is the principle here? Prabhupada is giving the principle that it has to be practiced. It has to be practiced persistently under the guidance of an expert devotee of the Lord. The first item, hearing, is most important item of all. See how much important is hearing. So many purports we see the same message coming from Srila Prabhupada over and over again. The first item, hearing, is the most important item of all. And therefore, hearing the Bhagavad Gita, where Prabhupada is writing hearing the Bhagavad Gita in the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam. And later on, Srimad Bhagavatam. Later on, Srimad Bhagavatam. It is essential for the serious candidate who wants to attain the stage of Bhishmadev at the end. The unique situation of Bhishmadev's time of death can be even though Lord Krishna will not be personally present. His words of the Bhagavad Gita or those of Srimad Bhagavatam are identical with the Lord. They are sound incarnations of the Lord, and one can fully utilize them to be entitled to attain the stage of Sri Bhishmadev, who was one of the 8 Vasus. Every man or animal must die at a certain stage of life. But one who dies like Bhishmadev attains perfection. And one who dies forced by the laws of nature dies like an animal. That is the difference between a man and an animal. The human form of life is specially meant for dying like Bhishmadev. Sampatyamanam Agnaya Bhishmam Brahmani Nishkale Sarva Bhuvas Chatushnim Vayashma Dinataye. Knowing that Bhishmadev has merged into the unlimited eternity of the Supreme Absolute, all present there became silent like birds at the end of the day. To enter into or to become merged into the unlimited eternity of the Supreme Absolute means to enter the original home of the living being. The living beings are all competent parts and parcels of the Absolute Personality of Godhead. And therefore, they are eternally related with Him as servitor and the served. The Lord is served by all His parts and parcels, as the complete machine is served by its parts and parcels. Any part of the machine removed from the whole is no longer important. Similarly, any part and parcel of the Absolute detached from the service of the Lord is useless. The living beings who are in material world are all unintegrated parts and parcels of the Supreme Whole. And they are no longer as important as the original parts and parcels. There are, however, more integrated living beings who are eternally liberated. The material energy of the Lord called Durga Shakti or the superintendent of hosts, the integrated parts, unintegrated parts and parcels. And thus they undergo a conditioned life under the law of material nature. When the living beings become conscious of this fact, he tries to go back home, back to Godhead. And thus, the spiritual urge of the living being begins. This spiritual urge is called Brahma Jigyasa, or inquiry about Brahman. Principally, this Brahman Jigyasa is successful by knowledge, renunciation, and devotional service of the Lord. Three things, very important for all of us. How this Brahma Jigyasa will manifest? By knowledge, renunciation, and at the same time, from knowledge will come renunciation, and one has to be engaged in performing devotional service of the Lord. We just took prasad here, and here because mostly sannyasis and senior brahmacharis and senior devotees are staying. There's a very nice facility. Sometime I'll bring you all of you here. It's called Govardhan Retreat Center. And some 10 Matajis are cooking. And because devotees are mainly, advanced in age also, they have diet restrictions or diet compulsion. So these Matajis are cooking day and night. So I asked them today, when I was taking prasad here, that you're not able to even go to the place where yatra is. Since morning they are here, throughout the day they are cooking. And they are cooking for every devotee, whoever requires whatever. And I said that you cannot hear any lecture, you cannot attend any arti, kirtan. And they said, we are very happy that we have the opportunity to serve the Vaishnavas. And it was genuine. That is not only once. I have seen them for so many years doing this service. And with such enthusiasm and with such spontaneous spirit to perform. So how this spirit of performing devotional service has come? It is through renunciation. They have left their families. They are all here. They have their family commitments also still. Prabhupada is saying by knowledge, renunciation, and devotional service. Devotional service. Only dry knowledge is not going to give any result to us. Knowledge means renunciation should be there. There must be renunciation. And with knowledge and renunciation, one should be engaged in devotional service. Gyan or knowledge means knowing everything of Brahman, the supreme everything of Brahman. The supreme renunciation means detachment from material affection. Devotional service is a revival by practice of the original position of the living being. The successful living being who are eligible to enter into the realm of the absolute are called Gyanis, the yogis and the bhaktas. The Gyanis and the yogis are also eligible to enter into the spiritual realm. The Gyanis and yogis enter into the impersonal race of the Supreme. But the bhaktas enter into the spiritual planet known as Vaikuntha. In these spiritual planets, the Supreme Lord as Narayan predominates, and the healthy, unconditioned living beings live there by rendering loving service to the Lord in the capacity of servant, friend, parent, and fiancé. There, the unconditioned living beings enjoy life in full freedom with the Lord, that is Vaikuntha, the spiritual planet. The Vaikuntha planets are all self-illuminating like the sun, and the rays of the Vaikuntha planets are called the Brahma Jyoti. The Brahma Jyoti is spread unlimitedly, and the material world is but a covered portion of an insignificant part of the same Brahma Jyoti. This covering is temporary and therefore it is sort of illusion. Bhishmadeva, the pure devotee of the Lord, entered the spiritual realm in one of the Vaikuntha planets, where the Lord in his eternal form as Parthasarthi. Okay. So when you come to take darshan of Radha Parthasarthi, I'm very pleased that Manoram Prabhu and Ramya Mataji and little Gaurangi and even Ravinder Prabhu and Priyanka and Rehanshi, they all went. They fulfilled the promise what Guru Maharaj asked, that every Sunday the Grasta should be coming. I gave them the option that I will not be there, but still they did it. They went. This is not just, they're not coming for formality. Very good. So please maintain this. Try to maintain it throughout your life. Whatever promise or whatever the instruction has been given by the spiritual master, if we can execute it throughout our life, the disciple becomes glorious. Not just one instruction, but at least those instructions which were given at the time of as a vow of initiation. We must execute it. We must make a very sincere attempt to do it. And if you have the desire to do it, Krishna enables. This is what the Lord is wanting to see. He is awaiting that how much we are desiring. And we see here in the case of Bhishmadev, because he had that desire. So Krishna personally came and appeared in front of him. And not only Krishna came, and with Krishna came all the great sages, all the great men, everyone assembled there. Everyone wanted to witness the passing away of Lord of Bhishmadev in Lord's presence. One minute. One second. The love and affection which binds the Lord and a devotee are exhibited in the case of Bhishmadev. Bhishmadev never forgot the Lord in his transcendental feature as Parthasarthi. And the Lord was present personally before Bhishmadev while he was passing to the transcendental world. This is the highest perfection of life. Tatra dhrunda bhayo nedur devamanava vaditaha sashamshu sadhavo rajnam khatpetu pushpa vrishtaya. Thereafter, both men and demigods sounded drums in honor, and the honest royal order commenced demonstration of honor and respect. And from the sky fell shower of flowers. Khat Petu. Uh, Khat is from the sky and Petu is begun to fall. What? Pushpa Vrishtaya. Vrishti. Vrishti means the fall of flowers from the sky. Bhishmadev was respected both by the human beings and by the demigods. The human beings live on Earth and similar other planets in the Bhur and Bhuvar groups of planets. But the demigods live in the Swar on heavenly planets, and all of them knew Vishnudev as a great warrior and devotee of the Lord. As a Mahajan or authority, he was on the level of Brahma, Narada, and Shiva, although he was human being. Qualification on par with the great demigods is possible only on attainment of spiritual perfection. Thus, Bhishmadev was known all over the universes. And during his time, interplanetary travel was effected by finer methods than the futile endeavors of mechanical spacecraft. When the distant planets were informed of the passing away of Bhishmadev, all the inhabitants of the upper planets, as well as of the earth, dropped showers of flowers to show due respect to the departed great personality. This showering of flowers from heaven is a sign of recognition by great demigods, and it could never be compared to the decoration of the dead body. The body of Bhishmadev lost its material effect due to being surcharged with spiritual realization, and thus the body was spiritualized, as iron becomes red hot when in contact with fire. The body of the fully self-realized soul is not therefore accepted as material. Special ceremonies are for such spiritual bodies. That is called samadhi, as we saw. The respect and recognition of Bhishmadev are never to be imitated by artificial means, as it has become a fashion to observe the so-called Jayanti ceremony for any and every common man. According to authorized Shastra, such a Jayanti ceremony for an ordinary man, however exalted he may be materially, is an offense to the Lord. You see, we have so many Jayantis, so many holidays. So Prabhupada is warning. However exalted he may be materially, it is an offense to the Lord because Jayanti is reserved for the day when the Lord appears on the earth. Bhishmadev was unique in his activities, and his passing away to the kingdom of God is also unique. Tasya nirharana adini samparitasya bhargava yudhishthira karayitva muratam dukkito abhavat. O descendant of Bhrigu, Sonak, after performing the funeral rituals of the dead body of Bhishmadev, Maharaj Yudhishthira is one momentarily overtaken with grief. I won't be able to complete. There are 5-6 verses. So I'll take this verse tomorrow. I'll stop here. Any discussion? Any query or contributions? Learning from the life of Srila Bhishmadev, that at the final moment, how he is able to completely absorb his thought, his mind, his speech, everything, his body in the Supreme Lord. Yes, Anika?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji,
Hare Krishna.
Bhishmadev was Mahajan. He was a great devotee of Lord Krishna, but still he was not able to hear the or realize the lessons of Bhagavad Gita which was spoken there.
Who says he was not having realization? He is very clearly saying that I have no misconception. He knows that the Brahma Jyoti, the Paramatma, and the Supreme, they are not different from the Supreme Lord. But with Lord Krishna, Paramatma and Brahma Jyoti is already there. But in Brahma Jyoti and Paramatma, Lord Krishna is not there. He is giving all this realization. We read this. He said, the duality of misconception is over. He knew the Tattva. What feature is he remembering the Lord? As Parthasarthi. And Prabhupada writes, Parthasarthi is a personal feature of the Lord, as is Shyamasundar. The Shyamsundar is for the gopis, and Parthasarthi is for Krishna, the devotee Bhishma and Arjuna both. That is why he was remembering. That is why again and again he is remembering the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So he, of course, he already realized Bhagavad Gita. Not only realized, he applied Bhagavad Gita. He went one step ahead. You see his realizations? He's already speaking. All this tattva is coming from where? From Bhagavad Gita. Actually, we are still not very conversant with Bhagavad Gita. This is the problem. I recently, was very fortunate again to go through, in Krishna's mercy, in 5 days I completed 15, 16, 17 and 18 chapters, almost every verse. We have to have some system where we are continuously studying thoroughly. Otherwise, the misconception is very deep and very dense and very sizable. And we are all forgetful souls. Okay, so Bhishma Deva already realized Bhagavad Gita. Don't think. He is already a Mahajan. But he was put in such a situation. That is what the other day I discussed. One of the most difficult service was assigned to Bhishma Deva. He was performing devotional service, but in most unfavorable situation. How difficult. You have to oppose your beloved Lord. Okay. Anyone else? Please try to give focus, attention, try to register the principles which are coming again and again in these purports. Yes, Manoram Prabhu.
Krishna Prabhuji, maybe it was my misconception that in Vaikunthas Prabhuji, both Narayan feature and 200 feature all the recite Prabhuji in Vaikunthas.
No,
400 as
see,
well as 200.
no, Vaikuntha is 400. Vaikuntha is for Vishnu Lok. Yeah. But for devotees of Krishna, it is either Golok or Mathura or Dwarika.
Yes, Prabhuji, but in this purport, that is why I am little bit.
Yeah, that purport is a little tricky. You have to be mature. To understand that. We were discussing in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada says, you can focus your attention on any of the forms of Krishna, like Varaha, Narayana, Krishna, Rama, Narsimha. And when you come to most confidential knowledge, twice Krishna says that. Open 18.65. He says that the pure devotee of the Lord does not allow his attention to go to any other form. So both are there in Prabhupada's purport only, in the same book, Bhagavad Gita. So, but you have to understand where what is being spoken. When he is giving the most confidential knowledge. So Prabhupada is explaining, na? So Parthasarthi is where? Parthasarthi is in Vaikuntha. Then where is the question? Where is Parthasarthi? He's already explained the secret here. He said Parthasarthi is for Bhishmadev as Shyama Sundar is for Gopis. And they are not Paramatma or Brahmajyoti. Then where is the doubt? Prabhupada already clarified. But what people say that the Krishna of Kurukshetra is different from Krishna in Vrindavan, that is not correct. This is what Prabhupada is saying. And there are different Krishnas. No. Krishna is the same. The original Krishna is the same. But he has his expansions. That is another very confidential subject, but I don't want to go into that. So Parthasarthi is where? He's not in Vaikuntha. Parthasarthi is where? He's in Krishna Lok. Okay. Not easy to understand Shastra, to reconcile, or to be able to. That is what Prabhupada is saying. What is the statement we read? That it has to be practiced persistently. Read that statement. Under the guidance of an expert devotee. You read this statement? We read this statement. Now why we have come here? After Guru Maharaj has left for his spiritual abode, we have all assembled here to remain under guidance, to remain under the expert devotees' instructions. Not whimsically or independently try our own things. In fact, from tomorrow I won't be able to take the class because I was rebuked by my senior. He said, why you have to have your own class? When the class is already scheduled here. So I told him that I have already scheduled, from tomorrow I won't do it. So kindly go through this section again. Kindly go through this section again and see how Vishmadev is absorbing. Okay? So don't get confused. This is what the misconception Bhishmadev is saying, that it is all cleared. There is no duality. Clarity, conviction. So he's applying. Okay, I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Tomorrow, kindly don't schedule my class. I will have to attend the program here, what is scheduled. And then for day after tomorrow, I'll let you know. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, and Thai God Premanandi. Pranab Prabhu, can you call me? You there? You left.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare
Pranab?
Krishna. Yes, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.